clear, because it will say you're granting this easement for this project for N number of years life expectancy of the turbines in this project. But they have the rights, as a part of the agreement, to extend that. On their call, they can extend it. You can't stop it. And so if you look at those extensions, they're typically on into 30 and 50 years.
They have language in there that says they can abandon in place.
The question, do they have language in there that they can abandon in place? I didn't see that in the agreements that I wrote, but that's not to say that they're not out there in some of them. I would say, that's absolutely not something that they should be allowed to do, either as a part of the agreement with the landowner or frankly, as a part of a county ordinance. The county ordinance should require a very detailed decommissioning plan with rules associated with decommissioning. Farm Bureau told us most of the stuff that we saw with decommissioning said that they would return, they would remove anything down to a depth of 4 feet and return the land the way it was. For those that said it. Farm Bureau told us when we were drafting our ordinance that 4 feet wasn't deep enough. Then Farm Bureau said, we've got multiple studies that show that corn will tap down to 6 feet. We need that concrete out of there down to 6 feet. Yes? So the question, as a result of the easement agreements, do any of the Worth County residents receive discounted electricity? No. No, in fact, the electricity that's generated by the turbines isn't even used in the county. I don't even know if it goes into the Iowa grid. I don't know. I don't know.
What's on the tax implications, income for a county? What's the benefits for the county?
So the benefits for the county, it's almost a double-edged sword. It's like crack cocaine, in my opinion. It kind of gives you a high, but now you're addicted to it. So there's a couple of different ways that the county can treat the wind turbines with regard to taxes. And I'm not an expert in that. I just know that there's a couple of different tax treatments that can be applied, and the counties have to vote by ordinance and say, this is the treatment that we're going to apply. Merlin, you were involved in these kinds of things. Can you talk to those different tax treatments that are available from a county perspective?
Not really prepared to do that tonight yet.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, there's two different ones. The manner in which Worth County has done it ultimately results in the wind companies, after the turbines have been erected, they determine the value of the turbine. And once they've determined the value of the turbine, then a rule kicks in that says for the first 6 years, you tax 0% of that value. The county gets 0% of that taxable value. On year 7, I think they get 5 or 10% of the taxable value. On year 8, it goes up by another 5%. And that goes on up until it maxes out at 30%.
It starts at year 1 is 0%.
Yes.
Net assessed value. Year 2 is 5%.
Is it
Year 3 is
Okay.
10%. It goes up until it's maxed out at year 7. And so that is a state mandated thing that your counties can adopt, which Worth County certainly has. I think most counties have. So it is a state thing that is allowed. But so yes, so I think we'd all be pretty happy if we had that tax base, wouldn't we? So year 1 you pay 0%. Year 2 you only pay 5% of the net assessed value, and then it goes up until year 7 when it caps out at 30%. So, and you've got to remember, they're also depreciating them out during this time, right? The tax person? Yep. And so yeah, that's per Iowa code,
And then-
427B.26, I believe.
Yeah, my reference to the crack cocaine aspect is several counties, many counties, Worth County included, they will they will enroll those turbines into an urban renewal plan. Now, I'm not sure how this meshes with Iowa law that says urban renewal is for blighted areas and it applies to property, and is specifically for urban development. But they use that law to then say, we're going to take a loan against that future tax that we're going to get off of these turbines. We're going to take out a loan, tax increment financing, TIF. We're going to take out a loan against that future tax, and we're going to apply the funds from this loan to these few, however many, urban development projects. And so the supervisors will get this bulk of millions of dollars of these future taxes that they're going to get, and they'll spend that money now on fixing these roads or this building or what have you. And then when that tax money comes in, that tax money has to be applied to pay off that loan and its interest.
Ultimately, TIF funds, where does that financing originally come from?
A lender. So there's attorneys that will find a lender. They'll calculate what's the future tax money over the next 20 years that are going to come in from these turbines. And let's say $40 million is going to come in. And the rules say, okay, you can take a loan of up to a certain percentage of that future tax, and you can get that loan today. Instead of waiting for 5% of the tax on year 2 and 10% of the tax on year 3, take it all right now. And when that tax money comes in, it'll pay off the loan and the interest.
So what happens when they replace the blades on that on year 8? Does it start over again?
No.
They just had a thing, there's just a case on that. And they're not allowing them, because they were trying to do that. And so that there was just recently a case on that, I think within the past 6 months or so, and they're not allowing them to do that. And the wind companies are very upset about that, because they were trying to do that.
What other questions?
And we'll also have time for questions afterwards, if that's okay.
Okay, well, again, I thank you for your time. And again, I want to emphasize there are a lot of aspects when it comes to these wind turbine projects. And there's good and bad with them, as there are with all things. The key is to be informed and to understand what's happening and to make certain that appropriate rules are in place to protect everybody's rights. I believe, Julie, you've got some folks that
Yes.
are landowners
I
next
brought
to
along a
some.
couple friends here. So, if you guys want to come up and introduce yourselves, and I've just got a slide here. Let's see. Why don't you get this going? I'll pick this up. Okay.
My name is Shelley Vanachuk. I live in Deer Creek.
Why don't you get a little closer up there?
A little closer.
Yep.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, how about that? So, our acreage is a little more than 6 acres. We are surrounded by 5 turbines from the southwest all the way around the north side. And it is extremely loud when all 5 are going. If anybody's thinking about putting them near your house, the closest one is 1,492 feet. There are some in our county that are closer than that, but if you are considering it, I suggest you go to Worth County, head up on Brush Avenue until you run into the monsters, and just sit there a while. And they fluctuate. Today it was relatively quiet, but there are many days that they are extremely loud. Who likes to sleep with their windows open in the spring and fall and summer when you can? Not if you have wind turbines that are going. They are that loud, and I would have never sent me.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Oh, maybe my Fitbit's interfering. So anyway, to have the windows open, it is extremely loud. You will not sleep. And that's probably the biggest complaint. With all the turbines going, it literally bounces off of our metal sheds that we have. It's frustrating. We live on a fairly busy blacktop, so we do have traffic. But you know, the traffic going by is here and there. It doesn't last. This lasts. This lasts until we move. It's just hard to put into words when you build something in your acreage, put in that much time and effort and upkeep, and then you don't even get a choice to have the turbine. And the person that put the turbines in doesn't live on the land across the road or to the north of us. You know, it's so loud. We had someone come probably 2-3 days ago and never been to our house before, and they were going and they were like, "Are you kidding me? I did not realize they are this loud." I do have videos on my phone if anybody would like to hear them. Just out of curiosity, I have some from the winter when there's like no noise except the turbines. I have some from the springtime, summer, where you can hear the birds, but you can hear the turbines. I have one from today when they were relatively quiet, but you can still hear them. I'm not saying they don't have their place, but I think they need to take into consideration the acreage owners who don't have a choice, who don't get a choice. They weren't even contacted. And in our area, talking to the neighbors, it went that, "Nope, I'm not signing up, I'm not gonna put them in." And then all of a sudden it was, "Oh yeah, Joe Blow signed up, so I'm gonna, because they're gonna be in my backyard, I might as well get the revenue as well." So there is a trickle-down effect of that. And again, they may have a place, but I just feel like the people that have an 800 feet from their house or 1,492 like I do, it's too close. And until you live it, you don't know. And if anybody has questions afterwards, I'm more than happy to. Yeah.
I've been told two things. One was by one of our county people that says, "Ma'am, they're no louder than your dishwasher." And the other was a farmer that was baling hay underneath one and said he could not hear the engine of his tractor. Which would you say?
I would say the tractor. It sounds like you're at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, and I'm not kidding.
You never leave.
Consistency,
Consistency.
nonstop.
Until you complain on Facebook, and then they turn them down or turn them off for a while, and our neighbor, who has since passed away, we were at a meeting and he said that, and people in the crowd laughed at him. And I got up after him and said, "He's not lying, because it does happen." Just what he said.
I'm Ann Lau. My late husband and I built this. We built our acreage, moved to it in 1997. He since became very ill, passed away. He built Ag Sales and Building Supply, if any of you farmers know that place. The turbines were put in the same time by Shelley. And I've been sick ever since. I mean, really, really sick. But the symptoms, pressure, pain in your head, your ears, nausea, terrible nausea every morning. And it doesn't go away. I have a deck that I can go out. You can't stand the noise. It's like an airplane going over that never lands. I try sleeping in my basement because of the noise, because of, if I can get behind cement in my basement, it's not so bad, but why should I have to do that? I wasn't even contacted. They just put them up, they installed them, and here I sit for the rest of my life, whereas I'm gonna have to move. It's terrible. Think long and hard before you sign on the dotted line, because it's gonna change your life one way or another forever.
And check out this book. Everybody, check out this book.
And if you want more information on it, this is a medical doctor and PhD. She's also a board certified pediatrician. This is all the information that she has on turbine syndrome. It's real. And another thing I want to bring up, because Arnie and I were land stewards. We were always taking care of the land, taking care of wildlife, everything. The birds that are being killed, thousands a day. Eagles chopped right in half. And the Bureau of the Interior has a cooler that is full of 6,000 bald eagles that are dying under turbines. They're ruining everything that's good in America. They're ruining it. And it's got to stop. Whales, dolphins, beaching themselves. They're destroying America to save America. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes me sick. Really, makes me sick. Yes, there's days where I can't even get off the couch. I just tap my head in the ice and get through the day. Think long and hard, really. Thank you.
I think these guys deserve a round of applause for being, thank you coming in. I don't know how to do this. Am I doing it right? Okay, I'm Julie Coombs. I'm, as Candy said, 5th generation Iowa farm girl and proud of it. My parents, Bob and Dorothy Harmon, maybe some of you have heard of them. I'm very proud to be their daughter as well. So yes, in 2018 is when I got involved with this, when the land agents were at my 85-year-old mother-in-law's with contract in hand, and I happened to stop by there. Went home and the land agents had left a contract there as well. I was not against wind turbines at that time. Unlike Jeff, who says, you know, he's not against them, I'm against them. I have done my research and I've done it well, and I do not feel that they have a place on our grid. And I've also, as a retired pharmacist, I know how to read a study. I have done so, and I feel I have a good basis and a good concept of what I speak. I have up here a slide of the Worth County wind turbine locations. So these gals that came and talked, they're up here in the upper northeast corner. That's the Freeborn Wind Project, as Jeff told you about. Most of those are in Iowa. There's only a few in Minnesota. Down below that is the Barton Wind Farm. Barton Industrial Wind Complex. It is not a farm. Over here to the west part of the county, we've got the top of Iowa. That was put in 2001, I believe. Where's my little file? So, and then we have two others, top of Iowa 2 and 3, that were put on in 2008. So Worth County has about 300 turbines. You see this blank area down here, down in the southeast corner? That's where I lived. And there's no turbines there. That's because we got busy. It was hard work. Invenergy was there knocking on our doors. We did this. We had meetings. We developed a brochure. We wrote letters to absentee landowners. By far is the absentee landowners that are not going to be living by these things and experiencing these things. That over 80% is usually absentee landowners. I contacted every one of them. So Invenergy sent their chief legal consultant, Michael Blazer, to send me 5 threatening, I felt, intimidating at least, emails to me. That didn't work. So then they offered me a 3-mile no-build perimeter around my home if I would agree to sit down and shut up. That didn't work either. These are the freeborn wind specs that these guys are talking about. They're living around wind turbines that are 459 feet. The diameter of the rotor is 394 feet, so calculate that out. That's about 1 1/3 football field. It's not sitting there, people, it's spinning. The tips of those blades can go 180 to 200 miles per hour, hence the ice throw that Jeff was talking about. Here's just an overview of the wind turbines in Iowa. We got a few of them here. I'm zeroing in a little bit here in North Iowa. So you see Northwood there, you see Osage, there's Charles City, they've got a little cluster of them. So find yourself here. Pretty blank in here, isn't it? Not for long, if you guys don't get busy. So I know here by Hampton, I've got some good people there. They're pretty sure that they've lost their fight. Nancy, am I not correct that south of Mason City here, there's active leases being signed?
Oh, absolutely, and I know 40 of them are, over 30 of them are going up at the intersection of Birchnell and
Okay, so there's gonna be some there, there's gonna be more down here, and it's sounding, I have some land in Mitchell County. I was contacted by NextEra. They didn't know who I was, they know who I am now. Here's something that you may not have thought about. So there's a lot of reasons why we in Worth County said, no, we don't want these things. My husband went up to the fertilizer plant. That's where farmers go to get their information, right? They go to the fertilizer plant. So as I showed you on that other screen, we've got turbines just north of us. We've got 300 of them in Worth County. We know about them. And the guys up there said, don't do it. Wish I'd never seen the damn things. Tile damage was number 1. Land compaction, aerial spraying. You're going to pay a surcharge if it can be done at all. With cover crops, that's getting to be more and more of a thing. Those planes are buzzing by us all the time, aren't they? Here's something you maybe didn't think of, and there's many other reasons too. Wind turbine clutter. It affects Doppler radar. This is real. The Department of Energy has known about this for a long time. So you see there's storms coming in, but the wind farms, wind complexes, cover that up. It's a real thing, and it's also a concern for marine radar, a lot of things. So, you know, it's one thing if you've got a little wind complex here and another one here. Worth County, if we hadn't gotten busy, and if they get that other one in, is going to be 3/4 full of wind turbines. Giant wind turbines, something to consider. Now, how big are your turbines going to be? Does anybody know? What are they telling you?
500 feet.
500 feet. Is that written in the contract? That is what was said. But if it's said, is it true? So down in Franklin County, they were told 600 feet. I believe in the Worthwhile, they were told 600 feet, and the next thing you know, it was 600 feet and up. So if it's not in the contract, if it's not written in there, who knows? So down in Franklin County, my friends Michelle and Sheldon Juergens, they're against them. They're losing, and now the company, it's a Vestas company, is filing for permits from the FAA, okay? So they got online and looked it up. The company is filing for permits for 700-foot wind turbines. How big is that? How big is the St. Louis Arch? 623 feet. So picture a 700-foot wind turbine, I don't know how far from your house, spinning. Where will your turbine be located? So again, if it's not written in that contract where it's going to be, and depending on what your ordinance says, it could be anywhere. We have had instances of that where the company told them, okay, we'll put them there. But when push came to shove,
and they sold it to another company, that didn't happen. If it's not written in the contract, might not be done. Will you have any turbines? So maybe you've been told you're gonna host a turbine. You'll have 2 turbines. And I don't know how much money they're paying for that, but you know, that's the people that get the big money, is the ones that host the turbines. Does it say in your contract you're gonna have a turbine? Does it say how many you're gonna have? Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just get to have, you know, connectivity go across your land. And then 2, if they need to drive across your land, maybe you won't have anything, but maybe they'll drive across your land to fix somebody else's and damage your tile. So we talked a little bit about this. So next era, they're big, 138.91 billion net worth. Market is going down on it, which I think is something for us to be concerned about. Invenergy estimated value, again because they're privately owned, is 10 billion. These guys got big money. So look, I think it's time, if we're going to put up with all this, let's quit being island nice. Let's say, if we're going to do this, we want to say where they're going to be, and we want them to start forking out some more of that money. Share the wealth, and not only to the big landowners, how about to the person that owns 6 acres or 5 acres? And I think Worth County's ordinance does a good job at that. So the payout, this big payout you get, let's look at that. Let's look at that relative to the cost of farming. We had a farm auction here August 17th. You know, what's it going to cost you to go buy a new combine? What does it cost to put in 80 acres of corn? What's that relative to what you're going to get paid? It's certainly you're getting paid a lot less than the oil and gas leases of past. It's certainly not much relative to what these companies' profits are. And where is all this money coming from? Take your hand and put it in your back pocket. It's coming from our tax dollars. This business, these corporations are living off the production tax credit that was started in 1993 to get this going. The production tax credit has been extended 13 times. Every time that it starts to go away, the wind company's business goes down. The biggest part of the Inflation Reduction Act is going to pay for this. So, you know, your taxes are going up. This is what it's about. And let's talk about what else? At the cost of what? At the cost of your quality of life? At your neighbor's quality of life? We talked about this a little bit, so I'm not going to go into it. You know, the companies come in and they say, you're going to get all this money. The counties are going to get all this money. And they do get money. And TIF, we talked about that, tax increment financing, it's a good thing. But it has to be used appropriately. The only thing I'm going to say on this is the concept of TIF is that it's going to generate money that will make, it's going to generate and improve and make more income. You know, in Worth County, we got great roads. We got great roads. Got a lot of paved roads. They're more expensive to take care of than gravel roads. And I don't think those paved roads are generating a lot of money. So, you know, there's talk about using TIF money to build new courthouses. But the counties start living kind of high on the hog, and then this TIF money doesn't last forever. And then it's pretty soon, oh no, we're going to lose the TIF money from the turbines. We better get some more turbines put up, because we're used to living like this. So, you got all these wonderful things. How about the negatives? Everything's got a negative, right? How about home devaluation? Now, the wind companies are going to point to a Berkeley study done in Berkeley, California. Will you tell me about this Berkeley study? Less than 1% of the homes that they studied were within, I believe it was half a mile, it was more than that, I gotta look it up, of the turbine. Most of them were over 3 miles away.
So give me a 3-mile setback any day, right? So homes, residents near turbines lose value. We talked about tile damage, decreased yield,